At the end of 2021 and almost 2022, why should you finally think about a wireless video transmitter like this one from Shimbal? Well, I've got 3 words for you. No more long cables. Shimbal is a relatively new company, only being founded in 2017, with their focus mainly being on on-camera accessories like monitors and now wireless transmitters like this one. Now, for many of your smaller users, you're probably wondering to yourself, why should I get a wireless transmitter? Well, for many reasons, really. With client shoots, typically they really want to see that image that you're shooting and will come look over your shoulder, and frankly, it can be really annoying. But with a wireless transmitter, what you can do is set up a dedicated client monitor and they'll never bug you ever again. This is really important because it frankly allows you to do your job better than if they're just hanging over your shoulder trying to see what you're seeing. It is never a really good means for success. Now, another great reason you should get a wireless transmitter is because if you're ever working with a larger camera team with, say, a first AC that's going to be pulling focus for you, you want to make sure that they have their own dedicated monitor and a wireless follow focus system, because having someone have to be pulling focus on your camera right next to you can really impede some of your camera movements and lead to more camera shake. Finally, your main and most important reason for having a wireless transmitter like this one is you don't have to run long SDI or HDMI cables. Frankly, that can be another thing that just ties you down to a certain space, and it's really not something that's good at all. That's why I've loved ever since I got a wireless transmitter, and I've been really stoked on this one. One thing I do really like about the design of this 600S is the integrated antennas up top here. I don't have to worry about carrying any of spare antennas or them getting knocked off by someone accidentally bumping into the camera. It's all just one integrated, clean design. Let's dive into some of the features of the 600S. Well, where does the 600S get its name? Probably from its 600-foot designed range. And at a budget-friendly only $419, that's really impressive. It's got an entirely metal build except for the antenna spot up top, which is made out of plastic, but that's understandable because metal would interfere with the signal. For your power choices, you have 2 options. You have a 5-volt USB-C port here on the side, and on the back you have a standard NPF battery slot. Now, I really like this decision because, like many filmmakers out there, I have dozens of NPF batteries, so I never have to worry about power options on set. Another crucial feature of the 600S is its SDI and HDMI ports for transmission. Now, this is really important because if you're relatively new to filmmaking and you got yourself a prosumer or a consumer camera, the Pocket 4K would be a great example, they use only HDMI. And while that's great at that level, if you were to buy an only HDMI transmitter, after a couple of years, if you upgraded to a more professional camera, we only use SDI. And well, if you bought that only HDMI transmitter, it's now useless to you and you have to sell it. But if you invest in a piece of equipment like this that has both the HDMI and SDI transmitters, it really gives you the opportunity for growth, and you can use this product for a long time. On the bottom here is an OLED display that reads out multiple different types of data, including signal strength, channel, and other features. But I think what's most important here is the fact that there's no fan inside. Now, it might go unnoticed to a lot of our newer shooters, but sound is frankly the most crucial part of anything you do in film and video. People will watch a film that looks bad, frankly, but they will never sit and listen to a film that sounds bad. And if you have a lot of audible fan noise, people won't want to watch what you're shooting. So, a lot of our newer LED lights and wireless transmitters and many of our other technology, since this new technological revolution has built-in fans, frankly, some of them can be quite noisy and distracting. So I do really like this feature, and I think it's something that they've clearly done their homework on. You can see how they've engineered it with all these fins here designed for passive cooling. Now, that's actually a technology that was really famous in engines for companies like Volkswagen and Porsche for years, so if it was good enough for Porsche, it's good enough for me. Now for some of the final features, the great news is that one transmitter can be actually connected to multiple receivers. And they have an iPhone and Android app, so you can see what's being transmitted not only to a monitor, but also on your phone. Now, this is very important because there's only so many monitors on set. And a lot of times crowds can really gather around the director or the client, and it can be rather distracting. So what you can do is if other people on your team need a monitor feed, you can send them on their iPhone with this app. And it's a great feature because hair and makeup can be looking at it, a script supervisor can be looking at it. You don't need 10 monitors. But if you did want to have that option, you can still connect multiple receivers like this one up to one transmitter. And last but not least, I think it's really important to talk about the latency. Now, that's something that can be really important when you're trying to pull focus because you need to be really precise at those focus adjustments. Now, the latency of this transmitter is only 80 milliseconds. And while that's not perfect by any means, you have to also remember this is still a very much budget-friendly option. So there has to be some sort of trade-off, but 80 milliseconds is still incredibly short. If you're shooting 24 frames per second, that's roughly 5 frames, as you can see in this test here. So really, your first AC should not have a problem with that. And if it's your directors or your clients, they're really not gonna notice. So I think that that's a very great compromise by Shimbal, and I think it's a great budget-friendly option.